And we start right away with exclusive material. These were very intense explosions. Explosions, so to speak, on the way to Moscow. The Ukrainian armed forces struck military targets in the Kursk region, specifically in Rilsk. Greetings to the Z military correspondents, who are spreading news that everything is calm in the Kursk region. Also, a large fire broke out at a defense plant in the city of Murom, Vladimir region. It was quite a night. Russian public channels report the suspension of operations at airfields in 3 regions deep within Russia. But there are also alarming news from the front. Russian occupiers are trying to break through the defense of Ukrainian defenders and reach the administrative border of the Dnipropetrovsk region. Exclusive details are coming up in our report.
Despite the loud declarations by Russian leaders about the complete liberation of the Kursk region, local residents can only dream of peace if they even have the chance to sleep. During the night, drones attacked the city of Rilsk in the Kursk region. The moment of one of the powerful explosions was caught on video. A large fire broke out at a defense plant in the city of Murom, Vladimir region of Russia, as a result of a drone attack. According to reports from the Russian side, 2 buildings were damaged. The so-called Ministry of Defense of the Russian Federation reported the downing of 30 drones. There was also a report about the closure of 3 airports.
In the last 24 hours, the occupiers have launched more than 25 Kremlin attacks on the positions of the Ukrainian defense forces. This indicates that the Kursk direction remains a priority for them, and all statements by the top military political leadership of Russia about full control over the territory of the Kursk region are nothing more than elements of information operations. It should be noted that such reports appeared on the eve of a sacred date for Russians, namely May 9th.
Despite the statements from the Russian side, the Ukrainian armed forces remain in the border areas of the Kursk region.
According to reports directly from the scene, intense fighting is taking place in the area of the settlement of Oleshnya. In addition, the Ukrainian defense forces are conducting a series of attacks in the direction of the settlement of Garnal.
The occupiers continue to die and be captured in the Kursk direction. According to South Korean intelligence data, it is known that about 600 North Korean soldiers who participated in combat on the side of Russia in the Kursk region have died. The total number of losses is estimated at nearly 5,000 people.
The Ukrainian defense forces are conducting a series of successful counterattacks in the Kursk direction. This is also evidenced by the capture of Russian army servicemen. This is a successful operation by the Special Operations Forces in cooperation with other components of the Ukrainian Defense Forces. In addition, the Ukrainian Defense Forces are delivering precise strikes on command and control points, ammunition depots, and concentrations of heavy armored vehicles of the occupiers in the Kursk region.
Meanwhile, while Putin's subordinates report on non-existent victories, the dictator himself lives in a non-existent reality. According to Bloomberg reports, Russian President Vladimir Putin did not agree to the US proposal to freeze the war along the front line and demands the transfer of 4 those Ukrainian regions to Russia.
If the occupiers are not stopped, the question will arise about the possibility of a direct military confrontation between NATO countries' armed forces and the Russian armed forces. This also concerns the implementation of the so-called Suwalki corridor. That is a direct invasion from the territory of the Republic of Belarus into Poland and the Baltic countries with the aim of creating a land corridor, which, according to the plans of the Russian General Staff, should connect the territory of the Republic of Belarus with the Kaliningrad region. In addition, there has been an increase in the transfer of personnel and equipment directly to the borders with NATO countries.
Helping Russia out, that's very much in the spirit of the Belarusian dictator. The Russian National Project Unmanned Aerial Systems, launched in 2024 at the initiative of Vladimir Putin, has faced delays. Out of the 2,617 drones planned under the state order for 2024, manufacturers managed to deliver only half. The delivery of the remaining drones has been postponed to a later date, until the end of May this year. In this situation, Mr. Lukashenko, of course, did not abandon his friend in trouble and agreed to build a drone factory in Belarus for Russia.
They aimed at residential buildings as if they were targets at a shooting range. This week, the Russians caused trouble, again in Odessa. It is known that 2 people died and 15 were injured. Attack drones flew directly into the apartments of city residents and exploded. More details about what the residents of Odessa had to endure will be shared and shown by TSN correspondent Sergei Sachuk.
The Russians began congratulating the residents of Odessa on May Day at night, deliberately starting the attack when people had gone to sleep. They approached at high altitudes and immediately flew into residential areas. People barely had time to hide behind 2 walls. One of the drones flew into a multi-story building between the 15th and 16th floors, destroying the roof and the slab ceilings. Miraculously, the building stood firm. Residents of the upper floors recount the night of terror.
The house started shaking like never before. It felt as if half the building was lying down. Then we started inspecting the apartment. There were no windows on the balcony, and even the latches were blown out. I also had seedlings on the balcony. Everything was lying on the floor.
The children were injured by shrapnel. They were very lucky that they were a bit further from the explosion, and the shrapnel that flew didn't injure them severely, because they were very large.
Debris from the upper floors fell down and blocked the only exit from the building. The concierge says people had to break down the doors themselves to get out into the yard. Neighbors tried to provide first aid to the injured. Most people were injured by glass that flew from the explosions.
It banged over there, and through the doors came either smoke or dust. It's unclear what. Through the entrance doors. I just screamed at first. I was scared. There were only injuries, head, arm. And people who had heart attacks were given medication, Valerian.
Even at night, near the damaged high-rise, rescuers set up tents so people could warm up and receive medical assistance. In the morning, wooden boards and plastic sheeting were brought here, and they began to cover the broken windows. Law enforcement officials say the Russians have specifically targeted the civilian population with terror. There were no military targets nearby.
There are no military personnel or military objects at the site of the shelling. Currently, the aftermath of the shelling is being dealt with. Assistance is being provided to the affected individuals, and the damages are being documented. Both apartment buildings and private homes of civilians, as well as their cars, have been damaged.
In addition to this apartment building, a residential house in Moldovanka was also attacked by a drone. Here, due to explosions and destruction, 2 people died. The roof caught fire, so people had to be evacuated quickly. Several injured individuals were taken by ambulance. They have moderate injuries,